The morning light filtered through the window of Dr. Evelyn Mercer's study, casting a warm glow on the numerous awards and certificates that adorned the walls. It had been years since her extraordinary mission to Zerixia, but the memory of that adventure remained vivid in her mind. Her experience with the Zerixian Hydra had not only saved a planet, but also propelled her into the forefront of xenobiology, earning her respect and recognition across the galaxy. Evelyn's life had returned to a semblance of normalcy. She had resumed her work at her high-tech veterinary clinic in New York City, where she continued to push the boundaries of veterinary science. However, the call of the stars never left her, and she often found herself gazing at the night sky, wondering what other mysteries lay hidden in the vast expanse of space. On this particular morning, as Evelyn reviewed a case study on alien flora adaptations, her assistant, Emma, burst into the room, her face alight with excitement. "Dr. Mercer, you need to see this," she said, handing Evelyn a sleek metallic tablet. Evelyn raised an eyebrow and took the tablet, her curiosity piqued. The screen displayed a series of strange symbols and a pulsating waveform that looked eerily familiar. She tapped on the screen, and an audio file began to play. The sound that emerged was an intricate mix of tonal patterns and rhythmic pulses, reminiscent of the distress signal she had received from Zerixia years ago. "This signal, where did it come from?" Evelyn asked, her heart pounding with anticipation. "It was intercepted by one of our deep space probes in the Veyron sector," Emma explained. The probe's AI flagged it as a potential distress call, similar to the one from Zerixia. "We've been trying to decode it, but it's proving to be quite complex." Evelyn's mind raced. The Veyron sector was an uncharted region, known for its harsh landscapes and sparse habitation. The possibility of another interstellar mission filled her with both excitement and trepidation. She knew she couldn't ignore the call. Her experience with the Zerixian Hydra had shown her that she had a unique skill set that could make a difference on other worlds. "Prepare the celestial arrow for departure," Evelyn said, her voice steady with determination. "We're going to Veyron." Over the next few days, Evelyn meticulously planned her journey. She reached out to her contacts within the Galactic Alliance, securing permission for an exploratory mission. Recognizing the potential complexities of the mission, she decided to assemble a team of experts to accompany her. Her first call was to Dr. Samuel Reyes, an alien linguist she had worked with briefly during a previous interstellar conference. Reyes was renowned for his ability to decipher complex extraterrestrial languages and had contributed to numerous successful missions. Evelyn sent a secure message to his research station on Alpha Centauri, explaining the situation and requesting his assistance. Within hours, Reyes responded with enthusiasm. "Dr. Mercer, your message intrigues me," he said in his reply. "The opportunity to decode an unknown signal and potentially assist another world is one I cannot pass up. I'll be at the spaceport within 48 hours. Next, Evelyn reached out to Captain Lara Tisang. The fearless pilot had flown the Celestial Arrow on their previous mission to Zerixia and had become a trusted ally. Tisang's expertise in navigating uncharted territories and her calm demeanor under pressure were invaluable assets. Evelyn sent a message to Tisang, who was currently stationed on a Galactic Alliance outpost near the Andromeda Galaxy. "Captain Tisang, I need your skills for another mission. We've received a distress signal from the Veyron sector. Are you available?" Tisang's response was swift and affirmative. "Dr. Mercer, it would be an honor to join you again. I'll make my way to the rendezvous point immediately." With the linguist and pilot on board, Evelyn turned her attention to finding an ecologist. She needed someone who could assess and address potential environmental issues on Veyron. Dr. Marcus Havelock, a renowned ecologist specializing in alien ecosystems, was the obvious choice. Evelyn had collaborated with Havelock on a project to rehabilitate a contaminated biosphere on a distant moon, and she trusted his expertise implicitly. Evelyn sent a message to Havelock's research facility on Titan. "Marcus, I need your help. We've intercepted a distress signal from the Veyron sector. It's a new mission, and your skills in ecology and environmental restoration are crucial." Havelock replied with his characteristic optimism. "Evelyn, count me in. This sounds like an incredible adventure. I'll be there as soon as I can." With her team assembled, Evelyn felt a sense of confidence and readiness. She knew that each member brought unique skills and perspectives, essential for the success of their mission. As the celestial arrow approached the spaceport where her team would converge, Evelyn reviewed the details of the signal once more, noting its complexity and the urgency it conveyed. 2 days later, the spaceport was a hive of activity as the celestial arrow docked. Evelyn waited at the docking bay, her heart racing with anticipation. Dr. Samuel Reyes was the first to arrive, his tall frame and thoughtful eyes instantly recognizable. He carried a compact device for decoding languages, a tool he had customized over years of research. "Dr. Mercer, it's good to see you again," Reyes greeted her with a warm handshake. "I've already begun preliminary analyses of the signal. It's unlike anything I've encountered before, but I'm confident we can crack it." "Thank you for joining us, Samuel," Evelyn replied, leading him to the ship's command center. "Your expertise will be invaluable." Captain Lara Tisang arrived next, her presence commanding respect and confidence. She wore her customary pilot's jumpsuit, adorned with patches from various missions. "Evelyn, ready for another adventure?" Tisang asked with a grin. "Always, Lara," Evelyn said, embracing her. "We couldn't do this without you." Finally, Dr. Marcus Havelock appeared, his casual attire and infectious enthusiasm bringing a burst of energy to the group. "Evelyn, this is going to be fantastic," he exclaimed, shaking her hand vigorously. "I've read up on Veyron's ecosystem. It's a fascinating place, even from the limited data we have." With her team assembled, Evelyn felt a renewed sense of purpose. She gathered everyone in the ship's briefing room, where a holographic projection of the Veyron sector floated above the table. "Thank you all for being here," Evelyn began. "We've received a distress signal from Veyron, a largely unexplored planet. The signal suggests that the inhabitants are facing a severe crisis, but we don't yet know the specifics. Our mission is to investigate, assist where we can, and hopefully prevent a catastrophe." Dr. Reyes nodded, his eyes fixed on the holographic signal waveform. "I've made some progress in decoding the message, but it's going to take more time. The structure is complex, possibly indicating a sophisticated language or encryption method." Captain Tisang leaned back in her chair, her expression thoughtful. "Navigating Veyron's terrain will be challenging, especially if it's as harsh as we suspect. We'll need to be prepared for anything." Dr. Havelock tapped on his tablet, displaying environmental data. "I've compiled all available information on Veyron's ecosystem. It's a planet of extremes, deserts, rocky formations, and limited water sources. If the crisis is environmental, we'll need to act quickly." Evelyn looked around the room at her assembled team, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and determination. "We're venturing into the unknown, but I have no doubt that together we can make a difference. Let's get to work." As the celestial arrow powered up for departure, Evelyn felt a surge of excitement. The stars called once more, and she was ready to answer. With her team by her side, she was prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, driven by the hope that their mission would bring aid and healing to another world in need. The journey to Veyron was filled with anticipation and preparation. As the celestial arrow sped through the vastness of space, Dr. Samuel Reyes spent hours poring over the cryptic signal, refining his translation algorithms and making incremental progress. Captain Lara Tisang ran simulations on potential landing sites, while Dr. Marcus Havelock analyzed every scrap of ecological data they had on Veyron. Evelyn moved between her team members, offering insights and support where needed. She felt a palpable sense of camaraderie and purpose within the group, each member driven by the desire to unravel the mystery and provide aid to Veyron. After several days of travel, the ship's navigation system indicated they were approaching the Veyron sector. The planet appeared on their main screen, a stark, beautiful world dominated by vast deserts, jagged mountain ranges, and shimmering rock formations. As they entered the planet's orbit, Evelyn and her team gathered in the command center. "Initial scans show minimal atmospheric interference and a stable landing zone," Captain Tisang reported. "We should be able to set down near the source of the signal." Dr. Reyes, his eyes fixed on his tablet, nodded. "The signal is strongest in that region. We should be able to make contact and hopefully understand their plight better." As the celestial arrow descended through Veyron's atmosphere, the crew observed the planet's harsh beauty. The landscape was rugged and desolate, with winds kicking up clouds of dust that shimmered under the distant sun. The landing was smooth, a testament to Tsang's piloting skills. They touched down in a broad rocky valley dotted with strange crystalline formations. The team disembarked, their boots crunching on the dusty ground. The air was thin but breathable, carrying a faint metallic tang. Evelyn took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the unknown ahead. "Stay alert, everyone," she advised. "We don't know what we're dealing with yet." As they moved away from the ship, they were met by a small group of Veyrons, their appearance striking and unique. The Veyrons were tall, with elongated limbs and shimmering scale-like skin that seemed to change color with the light. Their eyes were large and expressive, filled with both curiosity and wariness. The leader of the group stepped forward, a regal figure with deep blue scales and an intricate headdress made of woven metallic fibers. "I am Lysara, chief of the Veyrons," she said in a melodic yet solemn tone. "We are grateful for your response to our distress call. Our people are suffering, and we need your help." Evelyn stepped forward, bowing slightly in a gesture of respect. "I am Dr. Evelyn Mercer, and this is my team. We are here to assist in any way we can. Can you tell us more about what is happening?" Lysara nodded, her eyes filled with a deep sorrow. "Our water sources have been poisoned, and many of our people have fallen ill. We believe the contamination comes from an industrial outpost established by another alien race, the Zandari, who have exploited our land without regard for our well-being." Dr. Havelock's brow furrowed as he listened. "Environmental contamination could explain the illness. We need to assess the water sources and determine the extent of the damage." Lysara gestured for them to follow. "Come, I will take you to one of the affected areas. Time is of the essence." The team followed Lysara through the rugged landscape, eventually arriving at a once lush oasis now marred by the signs of contamination. The water was murky and dark, the vegetation around it wilted and lifeless. Nearby, several Veyrons lay in makeshift shelters, their skin dull and their breaths labored. Evelyn knelt beside one of the afflicted, gently examining the symptoms. "This is severe," she murmured. "We'll need to collect samples and run a full analysis." Dr. Reyes, observing the scene, approached Lysara. "We will do everything in our power to help, but we also need to understand the relationship between your people and the Zandari. Have there been any attempts at negotiation?" Lysara's expression hardened. "The Zandari have ignored our pleas. They are driven by greed, exploiting our resources without any regard for the consequences. We have tried to resist, but their technology is far superior to ours." Evelyn stood up, determination in her eyes. "Then we'll have to find another way. First, we need to stabilize the sick and stop the contamination from spreading. Marcus, start analyzing the water samples. Lara, see if we can establish communication with the Zandari outpost. Samuel, continue decoding any additional signals or communications we might intercept." As her team set to work, Evelyn felt the weight of the task ahead. The Veyrons were depending on them, and the stakes were high. But she also felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had the skills, the knowledge, and the determination to make a difference. As the suns set over the harsh but beautiful landscape of Veyron, casting long shadows and a golden glow, Evelyn knew that this mission would test them in ways they had never imagined. But she also knew that together, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead and bring hope to a world in desperate need. The next morning, the team set up a temporary lab near the contaminated oasis. Advanced diagnostic equipment hummed softly as Dr. Marcus Havelock meticulously analyzed water and soil samples. The results were alarming. High levels of toxic substances, many of which were unfamiliar even to their extensive databases. "These toxins are synthetic," Havelock explained, his face grim as he reviewed the data with Evelyn. "They're likely byproducts of industrial processes, possibly mining or manufacturing. The concentration levels are lethal for most known species." Evelyn looked around at the Veyrons suffering nearby, their condition worsening. "We need to act fast. Marcus, can you devise a filtration system to at least start purifying the water? I can, but it'll be a temporary fix, Havelock replied. We need to stop the source of the contamination or we're just buying time. Captain Lara Tsang, who had been coordinating with their ship, approached. I've managed to establish a line of communication with the Zandari outpost. They're not exactly welcoming, but they've agreed to talk. Evelyn nodded, her expression determined. Let's see if we can reason with them. The team gathered around a communication terminal, where a holographic image of a Zandari representative flickered to life. The Zandari were a stark contrast to the Vayrons, with metallic skin and sharp, angular features. The representative, who introduced himself as Overseer Varric, looked at them with cold detachment. This is Overseer Varric of the Zandari Mining Corporation. State your business, he said curtly. Evelyn stepped forward, her voice steady but firm. I am Dr. Evelyn Mercer, leading a humanitarian mission. The Vayrons' water sources have been contaminated, causing severe illness and environmental damage. We believe the source of the contamination is your industrial operations. We need your cooperation to address this crisis. Varric's expression didn't change. Our operations are within legal parameters and necessary for our economic interests. Any contamination is regrettable but incidental. We have permits from the Galactic Alliance. Dr. Samuel Reyes, who had been listening intently, interjected. Overseer Varric, the levels of contamination are far beyond what could be considered incidental. The Vayrons are dying. If you have any sense of responsibility or compassion, you must help us. Varric's eyes narrowed. Our primary responsibility is to our shareholders. However, we will consider your request and review our operations for compliance. That is all we can offer. The transmission ended abruptly. Evelyn clenched her fists, frustration boiling inside her. We can't rely on them to act in time. We need another approach. Dr. Havelock returned with a prototype of the filtration system. This will help purify the water for now, but we need a permanent solution. We need to identify the specific source of the contamination and shut it down. Evelyn nodded, her resolve hardening. We'll split into 2 teams. Samuel, you and I will try to negotiate with the Zandari again. See if we can find any allies within their ranks. Marcus and Lara, you work on identifying and neutralizing the source of the toxins. As they set their plan into motion, Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. The Vayrons were counting on them, and the stakes had never been higher. The following days were a whirlwind of activity and tension. Dr. Havelock and Captain Tsang scoured the area around the oasis, tracing the flow of contaminants back to their source. They followed a network of pipelines and underground reservoirs, discovering that the toxins originated from a massive Zandari mining facility several kilometers away. This is it, Havelock said, pointing to the sprawling complex on his tablet. We need to find a way to shut this down or reroute their waste disposal. Meanwhile, Evelyn and Reyes made their way to the Zandari outpost, hoping to find someone more sympathetic to their cause. They managed to arrange a meeting with a mid-level manager, a Zandari named Mira, who seemed more open to dialogue. I understand your concerns, Mira said, her tone more conciliatory than Varric's. Many of us are uncomfortable with the environmental impact of our operations, but our hands are tied by corporate policies and the overseer's directives. Reyes leaned forward, his voice earnest. We're not asking for a complete shutdown. We need a temporary halt to the most damaging activities and access to your facilities to implement safety measures. This is about saving lives. Mira hesitated, clearly torn between her duty and her conscience. I can authorize a temporary suspension of some operations, but it won't last long without higher approval. You'll need to act quickly. Back at the oasis, Havelock and Tsang worked tirelessly to implement the filtration system. The Vayrons watched with a mix of hope and apprehension as the first drops of purified water began to flow. It wasn't a permanent solution, but it was a start. Just as the filtration system began to stabilize the water quality, Havelock's communicator beeped. It was Evelyn. Marcus, we've got a temporary suspension of the most damaging operations, but it's only a matter of time before they resume. How's progress on your end? We've got the filtration system up and running, Havelock replied, but we need a way to deal with the source permanently. Can you leverage your position to get us access to their waste management systems? Evelyn turned to Mira, who nodded reluctantly. I can get you access, but you'll need to be quick. If Varric finds out, he'll shut it down. With Mira's help, Evelyn and Reyes infiltrated the Zandari facility. They navigated the labyrinthine corridors, bypassing security measures and reaching the waste management hub. There, they found the main control center for the disposal systems. Reyes tapped into the system, using his linguistic skills to decode the Zandari's complex programming. We can reroute the waste to a containment area, he said, typing furiously, but we'll need to disable some safeguards temporarily. Evelyn nodded. Do it, we don't have a choice. As Reyes worked, alarms began to blare. They had been discovered. We need to move, Evelyn urged. Lara, Marcus, get ready to implement the changes as soon as we're clear. The team raced against time, the Zandari security forces closing in. Just as they were about to be apprehended, Reyes completed the reprogramming. It's done. Let's go. They made their escape, barely evading capture, and regrouped at the oasis. Havelock and Toussaint immediately set to work, implementing the rerouted waste system. The contaminated flow ceased, and the filtration system began to make a noticeable difference. Lusara and the Veyrons watched in awe as the water began to clear, the first signs of life returning to the oasis. You've done it, Lusara said, tears of gratitude in her eyes. You've given us hope. Evelyn smiled, exhaustion etched on her face. This is just the beginning. We need to ensure the Zandari maintain these changes and work towards a more sustainable solution. As the team stood together, watching the restored oasis, they knew their mission was far from over. But they had taken the first crucial steps towards healing Veyron and building a fragile alliance that could lead to lasting change. The days following the rerouting of the Zandari waste systems brought a palpable sense of relief and cautious optimism. The Veyron's health began to improve, and the oasis showed signs of recovery. Water samples indicated decreasing toxin levels, and the vegetation started to regain its lush vibrancy. Evelyn and her team continued their efforts, working closely with the Veyrons to monitor the situation and ensure the sustainability of the filtration system. Mira from the Zandari outpost provided ongoing, albeit covert support, helping to maintain the temporary suspension of the most damaging operations. However, the sense of progress was shattered one night when a loud explosion rocked the oasis. Evelyn, jolted awake by the blast, rushed outside to find the filtration system engulfed in flames. Veyrons and her team scrambled to extinguish the fire, but the damage was extensive. Marcus Havelock, covered in soot and sweat, examined the wreckage. This was no accident, he said grimly. Someone sabotaged the system. Evelyn clenched her fists, frustration boiling inside her. The Zandari must have found out about our efforts and retaliated. We can't let this setback stop us. Captain Toussaint, her expression fierce, nodded. I'll increase security around our operations. We need to find out who did this and prevent further attacks. Dr. Reyes, who had been analyzing communication logs, stepped forward. I've intercepted some encrypted messages from the Zandari outpost. There are factions within their ranks unhappy with the current situation. We might have some internal allies, but we also clearly have enemies. The team redoubled their efforts, repairing the filtration system and enhancing security measures. Evelyn reached out to Mira, who was shocked by the sabotage, but agreed to help identify the perpetrators. As tensions rose, Evelyn and her team discovered that the sabotage was orchestrated by a group of Zandari extremists, opposed to any cooperation with the Veyrons. These extremists viewed the Veyrons as inferior beings unworthy of the Zandari's resources. With this information, Evelyn decided to confront Overseer Varric directly. Accompanied by Captain Toussaint and Dr. Reyes, she demanded a meeting at the Zandari outpost. Varric greeted them with a cold, calculating gaze. What is the meaning of this intrusion? Evelyn met his gaze with unwavering determination. We know about the sabotage. Your own people are divided on this issue. This conflict won't end until you acknowledge the damage your operations are causing and take responsibility. Varric's expression darkened. You overstep your bounds, Dr. Mercer. We have no obligation to entertain your accusations." Dr. Reyes stepped forward, holding up a datapad. "These encrypted messages prove otherwise. Your extremists are endangering not only the Veyrons but also your own operations. If this continues, it will lead to more chaos and possibly intervention from the Galactic Alliance." Varek's eyes flickered with uncertainty. He was clearly torn between his rigid adherence to corporate policies and the growing evidence of the sabotage's destructive consequences. Evelyn pressed on. "We need to work together to find a lasting solution. The Veyrons are willing to negotiate, but we need your cooperation. This is your chance to show true leadership and prevent further conflict." Varek stared at them for a long moment, before finally nodding. "I will investigate these claims and take appropriate action. But know this, my patience is not limitless. Any further disruptions will be dealt with severely." Leaving the outpost, Evelyn felt a glimmer of hope. The situation was far from resolved, but they had managed to gain a small concession from Varek. Now, they had to leverage it to forge a more sustainable and cooperative path forward. Back at the Oasis, the team focused on rebuilding and fortifying the filtration system. With Mira's help, they also worked on strengthening their alliance with the more moderate factions within the Zandari ranks. Slowly, trust began to build, and a fragile truce was established. Dr. Havelock and his Veyron counterparts devised a more robust filtration system, integrating both earthly and Veyron technology. The new system was more efficient and resilient, designed to withstand potential sabotage attempts. As the water quality continued to improve, so did the health of the Veyrons. The once lifeless oasis began to flourish again, becoming a symbol of hope and resilience. Evelyn's team conducted workshops with the Veyrons, sharing knowledge about sustainable practices and environmental conservation. One evening, as the sun set over the rejuvenated oasis, Evelyn and her team were invited to a special ceremony held by the Veyrons. Lysara, the Veyron chief, stood before the gathered crowd, her scales shimmering in the fading light. "Dr. Mercer and your team, we owe you a debt of gratitude," Lysara said, her voice filled with emotion. "You have not only saved our people but also taught us the value of cooperation and understanding. This oasis stands as a testament to our shared efforts." Evelyn stepped forward, deeply moved. "Thank you, Lysara. This journey has shown us all the importance of unity and perseverance. We still have much work to do, but together we can create a better future for both our peoples." The ceremony continued with traditional Veyron music and dances, celebrating the newfound alliance. Evelyn felt a profound sense of accomplishment and connection, knowing that their efforts had made a tangible difference. In the following weeks, the team continued to work closely with the Veyrons and the cooperative factions of the Zandari. They established a joint task force to oversee the implementation of sustainable practices and monitor the ongoing health of the ecosystem. Mira played a crucial role in bridging the gap between the two races, advocating for more ethical and environmentally conscious policies within the Zandari Corporation. Her efforts, combined with the pressure from Evelyn's team and the evidence of the sabotage, eventually led to significant changes in the corporation's operations. The once hostile relationship between the Veyrons and the Zandari began to transform into one of mutual respect and collaboration. New treaties were signed, and both sides committed to protecting Veyron's environment and ensuring the well-being of its inhabitants. One day, as Evelyn walked along the now thriving oasis, she received a communication from the Galactic Alliance. They had been monitoring the situation and were impressed with the progress made. The Alliance extended an invitation for Evelyn and her team to present their findings and methods at an upcoming intergalactic summit. Evelyn accepted the invitation with a sense of pride. Their mission had not only saved a planet, but also demonstrated the power of cooperation and shared knowledge across different species. She knew that their experience on Veyron could serve as a model for resolving similar conflicts throughout the galaxy. As the celestial arrow prepared for departure, Evelyn and her team took one last look at the oasis. The transformation was remarkable, a testament to their hard work and dedication. They had forged new alliances, healed a wounded world, and left a lasting legacy. With the mission on Veyron successfully completed Evelyn felt a renewed sense of purpose. The stars still held many mysteries, and she knew that this was just one chapter in her ongoing journey to uncover the secrets of the galaxy and make a positive impact wherever she went. The celestial arrow glided gracefully through space, leaving the now rejuvenated planet of Veyron behind. Dr. Evelyn Mercer and her team felt a mixture of exhaustion and elation as they settled into their routines aboard the ship. Their mission had been a success, but the work wasn't over yet. As they made their way back to Earth, Evelyn spent her time compiling a comprehensive report on their findings and the collaborative efforts that had led to Veyron's recovery. She knew that sharing their experiences and methods would be crucial in inspiring and guiding other interstellar missions facing similar challenges. Dr. Samuel Reyes worked alongside Evelyn, organizing the data on the Zandari's linguistic structures and the decoding process. "This mission has provided invaluable insights," Reyes remarked, tapping his tablet. "Not just into the Zandari language, but also into the complexities of interspecies communication and cooperation." Captain Lara Tsang maintained her focus on navigation and ensuring their journey home was smooth. She often joined Evelyn and Reyes in the ship's lounge, discussing the broader implications of their mission. "We've shown that it's possible to bridge cultural and technological gaps," Tsang said one evening. "That's a powerful message for the entire galaxy." Dr. Marcus Havelock, always the optimist, was already brainstorming ways to apply their newfound knowledge to Earth's own environmental challenges. "The filtration system we developed with the Veyrons could be adapted for use in polluted areas back home," he mused. "We could make a real difference on multiple fronts." As the days passed, the celestial arrow drew closer to Earth. The team held regular briefings to finalize their presentations for the intergalactic summit. They knew that their work on Veyron was just the beginning, and that their experiences could pave the way for future collaborations and innovations. Upon their arrival at Earth's orbit, the ship was met with a warm reception from both the Galactic Alliance and Earth's scientific community. Evelyn felt a deep sense of pride as she and her team disembarked, greeted by applause and gratitude from their colleagues and supporters. The intergalactic summit was held in a grand hall filled with representatives from various planets and species. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as Evelyn took the stage, her team standing proudly behind her. She began her presentation by recounting the initial distress signal from Veyron and the subsequent journey that had led them to uncover the environmental crisis. "We faced significant challenges," Evelyn said, her voice steady and confident. "But through perseverance, collaboration, and the integration of diverse technologies and knowledge, we were able to restore balance to Veyron's ecosystem. This mission has taught us that no problem is insurmountable when we work together." Dr. Reyes followed, detailing the linguistic and cultural barriers they had overcome. Understanding and respecting the Zandari's language and customs were crucial in gaining their cooperation. This mission highlighted the importance of empathy and open-mindedness in interstellar relations. Captain Tsang and Dr. Havelock presented the technical aspects of their work, from the advanced filtration system to the strategic maneuvers that ensured their success. The audience listened intently, their faces reflecting a mixture of admiration and inspiration. After the presentations, the summit attendees engaged in lively discussions, eager to learn more and apply the team's insights to their own challenges. Representatives from various planets approached Evelyn and her team, expressing interest in future collaborations and inviting them to share their expertise on other worlds. One evening, after a long day of discussions and networking, Evelyn and her team gathered on the terrace of the summit hall, overlooking the bustling city below. The stars shone brightly above, a reminder of the vast universe they were part of. "We've come a long way," Evelyn said, raising a glass in a toast. "To Veyron, to our shared journey, and to the countless worlds we have yet to discover and help." Her team raised their glasses, smiles of satisfaction and hope lighting up their faces. "To the stars and beyond," Captain Tsang echoed, her voice filled with the promise of new adventures. As they stood together, Evelyn felt a profound sense of purpose and connection. The mission on Veyron had been a pivotal chapter in her life, but it was only one part of a larger story. There were still many mysteries to uncover, many lives to touch, and many worlds to explore. With renewed determination and a deep sense of camaraderie, Evelyn and her team looked to the future, ready to answer the next call from the stars and continue their journey of discovery and healing across the galaxy.